So Demon Slayer Season 4 has officially started. The Hashira training arc has begun with this double-length premiere episode. Now, anyone who knew when this was initially announced, people are like, okay, this is like the shortest arc possible. How the hell are they going to make a season out of it? I don't have the answer to that. All I know is what I just saw was very fun and exciting, and the first 6 or 8 minutes of the episode was what you expect from peak Demon Slayer level animation and fight choreography. I assume there's going to be a lot of fleshing out from the manga. There's no reason you start the season, you know, halfway through the season unless you're going to run till the end of it. So I assume we're getting like 8 episodes, give or take. I mean, at the end of the episode, Tanjiro talks about how each episode he's going to talk about one of the Hashiras, so I assume we're going to have an episode at least for each of them in terms of like their little gags. I assume it's going to be a mixture of fleshing things out and just expanding on things, but then again, maybe they will start the next arc or whatever, and then obviously go into Season 5, which will most likely be the last season, all things considered. All I know is Demon Slayer's back. It's great. It's funny. Arguably one of the funniest things happened in this episode, which is kind of surprising because it does seem like the old master has passed away. If not, he's like 1 or 2 days away from doing so. But Zensu's reaction to Nezuko, it was so good. Because he's basically always trying to get if there's a girl in front of him, he thinks he's going to marry. And Nezuko starts saying, oh, hey, welcome back. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is kind of fun. And then she says Inosuke. I feel like Zensu fanboys probably dropped the anime at that moment, similar to how he was about to drop Life. That was comedy gold. Now, of course, I have full live reactions to Demon Slayer over on my Patreon. If you want to see any of my full uncut thoughts, they're going to be over there exclusively. So, we're back. This was a double-length episode. New opening, looking and sounding pretty good, but they started off this episode so freaking strong. So, the location, the set design, the atmosphere, we're focusing on some Hashiras we don't normally see, and their animation styles were awesome. Immediately, I was like, out of any of the characters I'm looking at, Snake Boy, Iguro, I want to see more of him. I just think he would have such a cool fighting style. And boy golly, does his serpent-level fighting style work. I like how, rather than Demon Slayer just being like, oh, you're impressed visually because of the cool effects and stuff, sure, that's true. But I actually think they do a really good job on the sound design, and especially with his sword. So it moves like a serpent, it sounds like a serpent, and just, I don't know, man. Between the contrast of like a wind Hashira and what he was doing, I mean, at one point, tornado of wind, then raining down blood, just so badass. To then the quick, almost like you're a hunter attacking your prey as a serpent. Just really cool stuff. And they start the episode off so fun because basically there's a demon with a woman tied up, not killed, not harmed seemingly, but kidnapped, and we're chasing him down. I really thought they were screwed. I actually was, for like a brief second, I was like, oh man, we're gonna start this season of Demon Slayer with a big death. Because they jump down after like trying to find this guy, and we're in the location where they have the meeting where it's like endlessly looped. It's just very disorienting. I thought we were about to get trapped with all those demons. And if Muzan was there, I was like, it's game over, Rip Bozos. They got away, and they were left wondering what the hell just happened. But a very effective way, because if you just start an episode of Demon Slayer off and you're just looking at Tanjiro in the bed eating 10,000 worth of calories of snacks, maybe it's not the most exciting way to kickstart a Demon Slayer episode, but, you know, they did a fun thing with the initial hook, and great meeting. Unfortunately, our boy is no longer going to be able to do so, you know, she had to take it up, and thank God we have someone who's nice, because could you imagine, we're approaching the final battle, we're approaching what could be the end of the world, and we end up with like a horrible leader or something, you know, it just wouldn't work out. But it was interesting them talking about the marks and how that's clearly going to be an important thing, because as we know in the Swordsmith Village arc last season, the two characters ended up having the mark, and it increased their fighting power quite a bit, and as they say, it started with Tanjiro and now it's kind of spreading down. Now, each of the Hashiras are training a group of soldiers, but it does feel like that's going to be very important. Now, all I know about this arc is that it's very short, and most people thought it could be like 3-4 episodes max, which clearly that's not going to be the case anymore given how the anime's going. Unless they decide to sideswipe us and do so, which I highly doubt. If it was going to be 4 episodes, it would have started next month and it would have ended with all the other shows, but that's just my hunch. So I imagine there could be some anime original content that they're going to do. Maybe they will start adapting the next arc. I don't know, but training arcs can be boring. but they can also be really exciting. And from what I'm gathering, I think it's gonna not be explosive, but I don't think it's going to be boring. I think it's going to be a nice middle ground of there's going to be some fun comedy, some fun moments, but we are going to see probably a couple of moments that might be a little explosive. Even if it's just little teases like they did at the start of the episode, I'd be okay with that. Tanjiro is doing well, all things considered. I mean, the boy doesn't really get much rest, all things considered, so it's nice to see him and Inosuke busting in. It's just funny, man. Like, just the over-the-topness. Like, we didn't really see much of Inosuke or Zensu last season, and I'm not sure if we're going to see much of them this season, given that it does feel more focused on the Hashiras, but we are in the endgame stages very soon, so once that happens, I mean, the gang's going to be back together. We ended the season with a pretty big moment with, you know, Nezuko being able to be in the sun, and I think it's the very first shot we see of her in this episode is her just on the bed as Tanjiro is sleeping. She's kicking her feet, she's just looking at the sun, and then she gets visibly disappointed when the sun gets covered by clouds. We're at a very interesting stage, and I mean, we end the episode with a demon saying, hey, we need your help, come work with us, which is, you know, we're in much different times than people are going to expect when demons are being invited to go with the Hashiras, right? I mean, Nezuko kind of has opened up the floodgates of what could happen next, and while they don't know if Nezuko is turning more into a human or just evolving as a demon, at the very least, she's feeling like a person again, which is something we didn't really think possible for most of season 1 anyway, or at least that's how I felt. These are the types of episodes that aren't going to be like, oh my god, this is the greatest Demon Slayer episode of all time, but the one thing I think many Demon Slayer fans will say is it feels like Demon Slayer, it feels like we're back in the saddle, consistent, still looking as sharp as ever. The tease of action we got was meaty in substance. They moved great, they were fluid, and it was expressive, it was funny. Hell, at one point in the meeting, our girl, like, doing backflips. Like, they didn't have to animate it that good, but they did, because they're like, hey, even if we're not swinging swords, we're going to make sure you think that these characters aren't stiff and boring. Demon Slayer has been one of the most charming, fun, exciting, thrilling, and horrifying shows all mixed into one in recent memory, and I think it absolutely deserves the popularity it has, and I'm always going to enjoy it. Whatever they decide to do with this arc, whether it's 2 episodes, 3 episodes, 8 episodes, 10 episodes, I don't care. I'm a happy camper watching Demon Slayer, and this episode was a treat and definitely worth the wait into this anime season. It's not often shows start this late, but you know what, I'd much rather them, because, you know, with how popular Demon Slayer is, they could easily milk it for the stupidest of, like, they could have had 5 episodes prior to this of just the most basic slice of life they really wanted to milk it, but they didn't. So I always feel like when Demon Slayer is out, it matters, and that's how I feel about this episode. But let me know what you thought down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell so you can know if I would upload more, and like I mentioned, got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Justin Hayes, Amy, Timbo J. Dusenjet, Elysium, Miranda Shaw, and Coasty944. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.